Hi, this is Robbie with Robert Mitchell OMB Photography, and welcome back to part 3 of our video series with Clifton Guterman, Big Picture Casting's head of television and film division. Let's jump right in.
So I get asked often about marketing tools and what can the actor do and what is on their plate that they can take care of. And obviously great headshots and a really clean, truthful, detailed, specific resume with who you did it with and where it was and all of that stuff. For TV and film and commercial and theater outside of Atlanta in bigger markets like New York or Chicago where agents are in play, a really great actor's access profile is essential. And most every agency will require that, and they're connected, your agent, to your actor's access profile. And then there's always been the talk of websites, personal websites, and social media accounts. I can tell you that in all of my years of casting, and certainly in TV and film, I have never once gone to an actor's personal website. I think we heard it in college, you gotta make a website. I think that they're very useful for people like opera singers who have their year booked out and they have fans that they may wanna go on and see where they can see Robbie Owenby sing, Madame Butterfly. But, comedians or dancers, I think that's really great. But for actors, TV and film or stage, I've never once had a conversation where a producer went down that rabbit hole or a director or where I did. Occasionally we may need to see different headshots or a different look, and those should be available anyway on your actor's access profile or in slate shots or in clips that we can see. But I think it's a bit of a waste of time for traditional actors. I think those other kind of artists it makes more sense for. And again, too, I'm on social media, but as a casting director, I've never gone down the rabbit hole of social media. However, we know there are reality shows. There are other things that could be important for how many followers someone has, or and so I could see that there. But for the work I do, scripted, I don't go down that rabbit hole. Now, for instance, one of the pilots I was working on was for Adult Swim, which is a comedy network, and we were looking at some comedian/actors, and it was important to a couple of people on that team, sort of what their star meter might be, or how kind of reach they might have. So that's the one time it's occurred in my whole time casting. But for a Robbie Owenby, or for an Atlanta actor, or for someone who is really, I think the work should speak for itself, and then the details should be there on the actor's access page, and great photos. Yeah. What makes a great headshot is a great question, because, and this was a big sort of wake-up call for me when I flipped over from the actor side to the casting side of TV and film. These systems that we use, Breakdown Services and Actors Access, I'm seeing just hundreds of thumbnails for submissions, and then deciding from those who to call in to tape. So a headshot that looks really great in a thumbnail frame, someone that's framed well enough that that person takes up most of the thumbnail, that they're in focus, that there's not some busy background distracting, that the actor is the focus, and that there's something active going on in the eyes. And that actor, knows their color palette at this point in their career and knows what to put themselves in that they look great in. I also always sort of suggest people go for a sort of timeless look attire that's not super sort of dated or super trendy and so trendy that that a year from now it's gonna look a little silly, so figuring out, and if you need help, go have someone help figure out what your color palette is. But those standouts, people who really look like real people and who are taking up most of that thumbnail, and it seems alive, and it's obviously color is completely 100% the way of headshots now because of TV and film, and it's 2023. So dressing in costume for headshots versus a self-tape or a callback. I think that you should dress as a human being and an actor in your headshot and not in any kind of uniform or character. Now that's not to say that if you don't book a lot of white collar kind of things that you should be dressy. I think you should, or that you book a lot of officers or working class people that you might want to go in a navy look or something. But I think I would reserve any kind of sort of self-costuming for a self-tape or a callback, which I think you absolutely should put yourself as much as you can without going to a costume shop or going overboard into the world of the story for us in a self-tape and then a callback. I absolutely think you should. But headshots, I think you should dress in something you look really great in and not try, I think there's certainly people who have multiple headshots on a profile from, very, very dressy to very scruffy. And for men, very, very scruffy to very clean shaven and preppy or whatever. And from women to, very, very glamorous to Walking Dead plain, And so I think we should all definitely have a variety, but dressing in character, cops and things like that, or doctors in a headshot feels like a red flag to me.
All right, that's it for part 3. If you're liking this content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe for more. And if you're looking for me on social media, find me on Instagram at RMO Photography, on Facebook at facebook.com/RobertMitchellOMB Photography, and of course at my website at robertmitchellomb.com. Thank you so much. See you in part 4.